Everybody's got to go to work.
Hello and welcome to episode 60 of Popcorn and Prosecco, a show that's all about talking about movies. I'm Perri Nemiroff, and here are my co-hosts, Kristy Puchko and Angie.
Hey!
I'm so excited we're in the same room.
We're fresh from Furious 7!
So this week we are going to talk about, first for our little part, the Spectre teaser trailer. Then we're going to go into our big review, which is for Furious 7. And then we are going to wrap up with our game again. So if you missed it, Friday night, the very first Spectre trailer dropped, which if you don't know what Spectre is, God help you, but it's the 24th Bond movie. And this one is about a thing that pops up from Bond's past, and it puts him on the trail of a sinister organization. And am I, repeating the synopsis? I feel like I've typed it so many times I might be. It puts him on the trail of a sinister organization, and that organization is Spectre. And we kind of got our first glimpse at Spectre in that teaser trailer. I like Skyfall, Casino Royale, and a lot of the recent ones. And I've actually only seen the recent ones. So, I haven't seen, way back when Bond. So basically everything in this teaser trailer kind of meant nothing to me.
Yeah, I had the same problem. I loved Skyfall so much, and I really liked Casino Royale. I didn't love Quantum Solace, but nobody did. But I feel like this trailer would have been more meaningful if I knew more about classic Bond, because I know that's what it's referring to, but since it didn't, it just kind of left me cold. I was like, oh, okay, something from his past comes back to haunt him again. That's fine. Whatever.
I've seen some old Bond because I was a tomboy in high school, so that just kind of comes with the territory. But I didn't get anything out of this trailer. I don't know, I don't like Bond movies. I've seen a bunch of them, but I don't tend to care. Even the new ones, they just kind of leave me cold. I don't think Bond's very interesting.
So did you know what Spectre was when you watched it?
I'm not,
okay.
I've seen them, but they left little impression. I was laughing because we watched the trailer a couple of seconds ago, it's because some of us hadn't seen it. And, I was like, oh, so Spectre's Hydra. That was what someone said, and I was like, yeah, Spectre's Hydra.
It's because the ring.
And the ring does
looks like the Hydra
logo,
symbol.
yeah. And it's just I don't know, I get that it's a teaser trailer, so they're just giving us a little bit, but for me, I want to see Christoph Waltz. I don't want to see him in Shadow. I want to see Christoph Waltz. So,
I didn't even remember who Mr. White was. That's his name, right? The guy
it is him. It is him, and the only reason I remember was because I had to write up his casting for our site. I just felt like that. I mean, it's fine. I know it's just a teaser, so I'm not gonna be too upset or anything. But just based on the very small segment I saw, it just didn't have that much personality or energy to it. It was just oh, it's a thriller about a guy, and then he has a mysterious past. And
well, it's kind of like a trailer that's for longtime fans.
Yeah,
that are
which
look at all this cool stuff from the past we're putting into this movie. Aren't you excited?
But if it means nothing to you, then it just feels
yeah, but I mean, it's a long lead teaser, so it's not meant to speak to us. And let's be serious, we're gonna have to see it anyway. So it doesn't, it
Those
doesn't
new
matter.
images they released look cool though. The stuff in Mexico City that was all nice and colorful and fun.
Yeah,
I mean, that piqued my interest much more so than this teaser trailer.
Agreed. All of that looked more fun.
It's also weird watching that trailer after having seen Furious 7. It just feels like, just give it to me! What is this teasing shit?
This is why they don't show trailers after movies. They show them before movies.
It's a fair point.
Makes
That's
sense.
on me.
Yeah. All right.
That's on me.
Alright, so on to Furious 7?
Yes,
Let's
speaking
do
of
it.
Furious 7, Deckard Shaw seeks revenge against Dominic Toretto and his family for the death of his brother. But
I like your synopsis better.
The real synopsis of this movie, and really the entire franchise, is beautiful bald men chase each other around the world.
I mean, really though.
Yeah, that's really
that is what it is.
Yeah, they're oh, there's people named Deckard and Dominic, and you're beautiful bald men chase each other around the world. Yeah. There's so many bald heads in it. It's gotten to the point where I think they just cast Jaime
How many
Hanso
bald characters are there?
Okay, so there's Tyrese's, there's Dominic
Dwayne
Toretto,
Johnson.
There's Jason Statham, there's The Rock.
There's Jaime Hanso.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's 5.
Did you say Tyrese?
I did. He was the first one I said.
Yes.
So that's 5.
Yeah. Ludacris has short hair,
He
but
has
he's
short
not
hair, he's
bald.
not bald.
Paul Walker also
Paul
short hair,
Walker
not
has
bald.
buzzed, yeah.
Michelle Rodriguez,
I think we're at 5.
Yeah.
Alright, 5 is the total. That is very important information.
So, in Furious 8, which I was saying should be Too Fast, Too Furious forever equals 8. Yeah. Guys, bookmark it, because that's obviously what it'll be.
You're welcome, Universal.
So that one they'll have to have 6. They'll have to bring in. They need to bring in a bald lady, is what needs to happen. Like Natalie Portman circa V for Vendetta or
I was
something.
thinking the same exact thing during the movie. I was like, where is Natalie Portman with her V for Vendetta haircut for this?
Or they could just do Charlize Theron from Mad Max. She's pretty freaking bald. Or
Shailene Woodley always seems like she's willing to cut her hair off for a role.
that's true.
Anyway, we spent a lot of time fantasy casting this next movie.
I thought this movie was fantastic. I got to go see it during the midnight screening at South by Southwest, and I don't think there could have been like a more ideal environment for this, because it was a big batch of press people in there, but I swear we weren't just surrounded by like festival goers. We were surrounded by people who are so incredibly passionate about this crazy series about cars flying out of planes and doing but like it really did register to people on
Also,
like a deeper level, and it made me really like a million times more hyped than I've ever been, like being amongst that kind of crowd.
I completely agree that I tend to have the kind of experience I have going to Fast and Furious movies when you go to a revival movie where everybody already knows what to expect and just wants to cheer at the parts they love. That's what these movies feel like the first time you're seeing them in theaters, because the audience is so invested and excited, and you're there together and you're throbbing and kicking, shouting, and it's you know, this movie really plays to that, and like they know their audience, they know what they can get away with. They like do all these big funny moments and these insane action moments, and
they're always like, they're never afraid of being cheesy.
Yeah,
they're just like,
the drama's so like telenovela, and everyone gets real serious.
Well, that's kind of why it works, though, because it knows what it is and it embraces it, and it doesn't try to act all serious.
It's not like we're
really
gonna be gritty and
but
smart.
I will say, I think the action in this is more grounded than any other one, because you know.
Wait, not in terms of literally less grounded. They're flying.
Not in terms of like what the cars are actually doing, but like the way it's shot. Like I kind of felt like I was in it a little more.
Wow, I really didn't like the action as much as what
really?
Justin Lin did. Yeah,
Oh,
I thought James Wan's direction.
I thought I was like a lot more oriented. Like I really had a much clearer sense of where everything was.
I think that the orientation thing, to some extent, like I thought he did okay with that. The problem was just that like the movie, the way it's cut together is so frenetic that it's like kind of hard to, especially the fist fights. I was having the biggest problem with, because you hire people like Tony Jaa and Ronda Rousey who can like, oh my god, like those are people who like turn fighting into an art form.
Ronda Rousey like full on punching someone in the face while wearing heels and a dress is one of my favorite things I've seen so far this year. It's fucking fantastic.
Yeah, but my problem was like there are people that I want to just kind of like sit back and watch their thing, and the way that the movie is, the way that the fist fights are cut, it kind of felt like, I mean, it's nice that it's Ronda Rousey, but it could have really just been any actress. It's nice that it's Tony Jaa, but it really could have just been any actor, because it's like, it's really disjointed.
The pace,
you
the
don't
cutting
get,
is
like,
so,
the,
It's like when you want to show a dance sequence and you want to show what a great dancer they are, you leave the take long, and they don't do that in this. And I get that it's to amp up the rah rah rah, but I agree with Angie that it takes away from it a bit. But for me, like, you mentioned the geography, and I actually thought it was kind of sloppy, because there's so many scenes where we are in 3 different places at once, cutting to different action sequences, and I kept having to go, wait, where are we, and readjust, because I don't think Wan has the skill set of Lin there. It's still very good. It's just, to me, like, I found the action scenes in, like, 5 and 6 to be tighter and a little more exciting.
Well, I mean, that scene with the truck where it's about to go over the cliff and stuff, like
that's very good.
But that I knew like everything, and there were so many little things going on.
There's some really good moments, and I mean, this is also like almost a wall-to-wall action movie. So there's tons of good stuff. That I liked a lot, but I also think that's because you have like this one thing to focus on. I think they do a really exceptional job with that scene. And there's parts of it I think that are great. It's just that comparing them to the past two, I feel like that's one area where Wan doesn't really, you know, to his credit, it does feel like a continuation of the series. It fits really well with the things they've established. If you like the other movies, you're going to like this one. But, like, that's one thing he misses on, and Angie and I were talking about another thing he misses on, which seems small, but, like, Fast and Furious...
Okay, you know how we're talking about how there's all these bald, beautiful men? Very few of them take off their shirts.
I mean, that's boiling it down to the core argument, but basically, like, there's a lot of boogie shaking and girls in little outfits and stuff, as tends to happen in these movies, and fine. But, like, what sets Fast and Furious apart from so many other action franchises is that they were kind of an equal opportunity ogler when it came to men and women in the last couple of movies, because, like, Justin Lin, like, knew to give us just a little bit. Give us a little Tyrese without a shirt on. That ain't gonna hurt anybody.
Just have Ludacris be sitting around shirtless for no reason.
And, like, in this movie, they have shirts on at points where it makes no sense to have shirts on. Like, he's on a beach explaining why he's wearing a shirt, and you're like, just take your shirt off! Like, what is happening?
Tater, get the fuck out!
But it's like, I know it seems a silly thing to concentrate on, but just because because the other movies, I think you wrote a piece on that specifically.
Yeah.
The other movies did such a great job with, like, not just diversity casting in a way that actually made sense, but also in appealing to men and women. It's kind of a bummer that in this one you get lots of tits and ass, but you don't get a lot of guys.
It feels, I mean, it still does better by its female characters than I think a lot of other franchises do. I feel like we're nitpicking a little bit. I mean, these are all really valid complaints, but, you know, like,
but
the action
from
is
a place
good,
of, like,
this is so good.
This movie's so exciting and so exhilarating, you kind of just want to go, like, okay, so it's amazing, you're going to want to go see it if you've seen the other ones, but what else can we talk about?
It feels very slightly more, like, boy-oriented in that sense, and I agree. And it didn't like, destroy my enjoyment of the movie. Like, Michelle Rodriguez, actually, her role's actually beefed up a lot from the last couple of
there
movies.
were more female characters in the last one, too. They had, like, a little girls' club for a good portion.
Yeah.
They did.
And they write out a lot of the female characters in this one, where they're like, yeah, you're going to go over here.
Poor Jordana Brewster.
No,
like,
there's
show
a
you
reason
the countdown.
Jordana
We're
Brewster
going
keeps
to
getting
Spectre.
shoved out. And it's because in a cast that is made up of people who are mostly surviving on charisma and not acting talent, Jordana Brewster is at the bottom of
She
that
has
list.
neither. At least
She's so pretty, guys. She's so pretty.
Do you see her in, like, the banner where she's, like, shoved in the back?
Yeah, they're like,
You can
yeah,
barely
over
see
there.
her.
Because, like, she's lovely, but, like, you know, I mean, it's the funny thing is when you look back at Fast and Furious, it was a goofy car race movie, and I don't think anybody could have projected what it was going to become.
No.
But what's crazy is that, you know, the actors in it aren't great, and they're still not great. But, like, most of them are so charismatic you just don't care. But, like, you pointed out that, like, Michelle Rodriguez has a lot more to do in this movie.
She's not up. They put a lot more dramatic weight on her shoulders.
She's a lot of
and
big
she's not
scenes.
up to it. So I remember after seeing Fast 5 being like, wow, Paul Walker is one of those actors that makes you appreciate how difficult acting is because he makes it look so hard. And I was getting that from Michelle Rodriguez, who I was like, thank you for reminding me that not any idiot can do this because this looks really hard when you do it. Which it's like not supposed to. I'm sorry though. I still enjoy her. Like when she gets to just do like quippy one-liners, she's fun. But when they try to make her be like dramatic and serious is when I was like, okay.
Yeah, it's like her tone of voice too. I think she permanently sounds disinterested in everything.
And that's
She has, like, a
exactly it.
monotone
She's
voice.
like crying and she's like, dumb, you can't leave me dumb. And it's like the same energy. She's like, don't worry about it. It's like she says everything like that.
Everyone take a shot because Kristy did her
Dead on.
impression of
Dead on, Michelle.
That was a good one. I want to hear your Vin Diesel.
My Vin Diesel. Wait, what is it's about family. Alright,
Your
let me
Michelle
try again.
Rodriguez is better.
Let me try again. Let me settle into it. It's about family. Does that work better?
No, it just makes you sound drunk.
You're like going for like that nasal approach. I know what you're
I'm
doing.
trying to get there. He's great in this. They have a good arc in this. It is kind of wild because, of course, it is the farewell of Paul Walker, and they're very aware of that. And, like, obviously the movie was, 1, rewritten so that they could finish it without him, and 2, rewritten so that they could say goodbye to Brian. And we're not going to get into specifically how they say goodbye to Brian just yet, but it's interesting because, like, the character Brian doesn't seem to have a lot to do in this movie, and I feel like they built in scenes specifically to give him
I feel like what they did was, there's a lot of scenes where you can, I will say that considering the severe limitations they're working with, I thought that they did such a good job, and if I weren't following the news and specifically, and like if I weren't like someone who watches movies for a living, and if I weren't specifically looking for it, I probably honestly like wouldn't have noticed until maybe the very end where it becomes more of a over goodbye.
There was one specific shot where I think I picked up on it, that it wasn't him.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, I didn't notice a single thing.
Actually, I think that what they did a lot of is I kind of figured out that what they did was they give him a character arc, and it's actually a pretty strong arc, but the way they work around it is they have a lot of characters where other characters are talking about him, and he's kind of shuffling in the background, or like they kind of like show him from like, you know, from like this angle where it kind of looks like him, but if you know that it probably wasn't, then you figure it out.
Yeah.
And then, I mean,
there's
all
a lot of
considered
things where
what
he's
done.
shot like this way, and you're
or like his
oh.
face is like a little bit obscured, or like it's in the shadow.
It's very well
like
done,
in
but
smoke.
it's like, you know,
if you're looking for it, you can figure it out.
It's just that there's like, you know, this is a movie where they're all about the face, and then all of a sudden you're not really seeing Paul Walker's face, and you're like, oh, okay, but really subtly done, and really beautifully done. I think the ending is going to make a lot of people really happy.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was elegant. I think.
And I
they did a really great
thought
job.
Jason Statham. Did we count him?
Oh my God.
6.
We didn't 6.
Oh shit. 6. They should have had 7. I mean, it's called
Right.
Furious 7.
I wonder if there was someone involved that was like, I wonder if they went to Kurt Russell and was like, can you just take this down? And he was like, I am Kurt motherfucking Russell. No.
They were both really fun in this, but no.
Yeah.
he
I
wasn't
can't believe we didn't
involved.
get
We should
Yeah.
probably talk about Jason Statham's
Statham's-
whole little operation and like what they get into with the plan.
Oh, who
it kind
cares?
of doesn't have any influence in the
I don't
entire
care.
movie.
The plot of this movie sort of does, well, it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make
The
any
plot of the-
sense.
The plot of the movie serves absolutely no
No.
purpose.
No.
No.
There's one character that every single time he showed up, I was like, oh, you're still a thing. And
Yeah.
it's like a person that's like in the movie a fair amount, and I just kept forgetting he existed, and even right now, like, what did he want? I actually honestly
like,
don't remember.
Really, what I like about Furious 7, maybe more than the past movies, and maybe for part of the reason we were talking about, is that it is such a hairy balls movie. It's just balls! Like, it's like every kind of macho, including girl macho, because the girl fighting this is so fucking ferocious. But, like, you've got, like, The Rock with his brand of, like, when they introduce The Rock, he is covered in sweat while filling out paperwork, because he just did some iron.
Good.
Even, like,
But I'm just, hairy balls movie, it doesn't sound appealing.
I'm just, I feel like people get what I'm saying.
It's like sweaty and,
But
alright.
this movie is slicked in sweat. Anyway. And then you've got Vin Diesel's brand of machismo. Then you've got Tony Jaa and his brand of machismo. Then you got Jason Statham, who I love that everything they shoot Statham is, it's like always just like motherfucking Jason Statham. Like every shot.
There are like 8 shots where you see a car door open and then like a black boot like stomp on the ground and then it pans up and it's
I
Jason
wonder who.
Statham.
Yeah,
It
and
happens like so many times.
really good banter in this one. Where like, did you think this was gonna be a street fight? You're like, oh shit! Like there was like, yeah, I was.
Oh, that was so.
Everybody gets to feel like they're like watching a Yo Mama contest in this movie because you're just like, oh no! Like it's amazing. It's just so much like the theater was freaking out. The theater was chuckling and cheering and screaming and like, yeah, it's a great movie. You should see it opening weekend with people that are super fucking pumped to see it.
Yeah.
I
Well,
agree.
we should wrap up really soon, right? I think
Yeah.
we're almost out of time. But really quick, the ending. So we're gonna go into spoilers.
Yeah,
I want to talk
spoilers.
about because I really want to talk about Paul Walker's goodbye. So you were saying before this that spoilers again, spoilers.
Big spoilers.
Yeah. So you were saying that you felt like unless they killed him off, it wouldn't be satisfying.
I wrote about that on Cinema Blend shortly after he died, where they were discussing about whether or not they were going to do it, and Universal I think was saying that they were not going to kill him off. They said flat out,
Yeah.
like we're not, we're going to let him ride off into the sunset. And I said that doesn't make any sense because to condense the history of Fast and Furious can be boiled down to #family. It's very important to everybody that like you do whatever you can for your family. So it never made sense to me that you could write Brian out because if anybody in his family was in trouble, he would have to come back. Now in this movie, they try to basically set up that he has to be a father to his child now, and so because of that, like it's really time for him to go. And which is something they could have done last time, so it feels a little weak, whatever. But the way they do it is they're all on a beach, he's playing with his son Jack and his wife, and they all look at each other and they realize that it's time for him to move on. And then they have this very, like, not so thinly coded conversation about how you never have to say goodbye to family.
And how they're brothers,
and their
like,
brothers.
they have like a deep bond. It's actually really moving.
It's really beautiful. And then they walk away, and then the final scene is Vin Diesel on a road by himself, and this song is playing about how, like, you always want another day with your best friend, and it's just so, like, and then Paul Walker drives up beside him and says, did you think you were going to get away without saying goodbye? And the two of them drive side by side and then take different roads, and that's the end of the movie. And it's a really elegant little way to deal with it, and I changed my mind watching that ending. I thought I would never be satisfied unless he got a big, glorious death, and I wanted to cry with the audience over him, but instead, having this elegant moment where it got to be about the joy he brought us instead of the pain his death brought was actually really beautiful.
You know, you actually were changing my mind on this, like, just as you were speaking, because on my way over here, I was like, well, I still think it would have made more narrative sense if he died, because like you said, like, the whole thing is you never abandon your family, but, you know, I think you're right. I think the idea was to focus on, like, giving him as happy a send-off as possible, as opposed to, I mean,
these movies also aren't about narrative sense, and I think if you ended a Fast and Furious movie on, like, a somewhat sour note, even if he did go out in, like, a blaze of gore.
Oh, I don't know, I'm
like,
still bitter
saving
about the end
I
of
was
the
going to say
series.
Han and Giselle forever, guys.
Oh.
But I mean, like, no, I think they handled it in a way that was really well done.
Yeah.
Guys, I just figured out how they can bring Han back.
Twin brother?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Triplets, quadruplets if you have to. Just bring him back.
Yeah.
Bring him back. Anyway.
Yeah.
So, what's the final verdict?
You should
Like
absolutely
like
see
I-
Yeah,
Go
you should
see
have-
Furious 7 because it's amazing.
Yeah,
Yes, do it.
that was Car for Go See Furious 7.
I think we're freaking doing it with all these noises and impressions tonight.
What is happening? We're gonna move into our game section. Let me bring it up on my phone. So last week's game was what April Fool's hoax would you like to start? Give us your movie news hoax to win a shout out on next week's news show.
And our winner this week is Jose Garcia Jr., or @Juniorific, whose answer was breaking. Disney announces a live-action Toy Story. If you guys want to see my feels about some of Disney's live-action stuff, go to Pajiba. I've recently written about Mulan, which yay, and the live-action Pooh, which no. Well done, Jose. Thanks for playing.
This week we are going to give you this caption.
This photo.
A photo. Yeah, this week we're gonna give you this photo.
Yeah.
And this is from Specter. And take a look at this and give us a caption for it. And if we like your caption best, we will give you a shout out on next week's show.
So, that's it for episode 60 of Popcorn and Prosecco. As always, you can find us on YouTube. You can catch us on iTunes, where we would love if you could rate and comment about us. Then go to popcornprosecco.com. We are on Facebook. Go like us there. And then you can talk to us on our Twitter account @popcornprosecco and reply to our caption contest for the week. And then you can also find all three of us all over the internet as well. Kristy, want to go first?
You can find me @Kristy Puchko on Twitter. That's KristyPuchko, and I write for all over the web. So you can find my career highlights at decadentcriminals.com.
Angie?
You can find me on Twitter @AJHAN, and I write for slashfilm.com.
And you can catch me @Nemiroff on Twitter, and I write for Collider.com. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Have a Fast and Furious weekend, everyone.
There was a part in the movie where he's like, we can't just be fast anymore. I was like, say we also have to be furious!
I wanted it so bad.
And
I
then
wanted
he
more
did
than
it.
anything.
That was the biggest letdown of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Oh, sorry. I just don't want you guys to get your hopes up the way I did.
I don't have friends. I got family.